Hello, my pre-apocalyptic friends. Today we're taking a walk down memory lane to explore the 1977 animated film, Wizards. Wizards is Ralph Bakshi's groundbreaking mishmash of post-apocalyptic fare, blending fantasy, science fiction, suggestive humor, and powerful wizards riding two-legged, round-bellied horses that only go so fast. The basic premise of the film is a life-or-death battle between good and evil. The good is Avatar, the wise old wizard who believes in the philosophy that the greatest technology is nature, and everything else leads to destructive weapons. This keeps his magical land at peace. On the other side is the big bad Black Wolf, a dark wizard bent on spreading his tyrannical reign across the world. Black Wolf digs up old World War II weapons and footage to aid his cause, rounding up mutants and goblins for his army. Sounds very Lord of the Rings, right? But you'd be wrong. Wizards is a dark, funny story that blends wildly different animation styles and color themes into one feature. Surprisingly, they all come together to deliver a powerful message. Don't get overly excited and reckless with technology. It has a tendency to make you a pawn of war. Before we begin, we have a small request. If you enjoy our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. And now, let's dive deep into Wizards. Ralph Bakshi. An introduction. Bakshi is known for his atypical, highly controversial animated films that comment on the world we live in. His 1972 film, Fritz the Cat, featuring an unbridled party animal whose coming-of-age journey is riddled with sex and drugs, was the first animated film ever to receive an X rating. In the US, films like Coonskin were similarly genius curveballs that satisfied his cult following. Bakshi also reached a wider audience with less controversial fare, such as his Lord of the Rings animation from 1978. People don't always see eye to eye with him, as he's often abrupt in how he delivers uncomfortable truths about human nature. However, Bakshi does have a case for being one of the pioneers who brought adult animation into the mainstream. As for our film in focus, Wizard, there has never been a more relevant time to consider the themes behind this intriguing mix of sweet fairy, sexual undertone, evil robots, rotoscoped war marches, goblins, psychedelic watercolor, and black and white Nazi footage. It's almost too much, but that too much quality is Bakshi's trademark. Unlike his bold screen technique, his message is subtle, never annoyingly preachy like some of the content we see today. Renewing our imagination with Wizards. It's been over 4 decades since Bakshi served this medium-rare cut at our primetime table, and even if we were a bit confused by its rough around the edges look, we were compelled to dig in. It's hard not to be intrigued by something that feels so eerily similar to the world we live in. Bakshi's post-apocalyptic animated film, Wizards, brought its American audience face to face with a desecrated world reeling from the effects of a nuclear war that had ravaged the Earth for millennia. Yet, despite this apocalyptic backdrop, the new beings that sprung up were still fighting the same battles that had destroyed the planet in the first place. With the added touch of Bakshi's curvy ladies, the world is once again at war. The good natural beings versus the evil machines built for destruction. Now, tell me, how is our world any different from this fantastical post-apocalyptic cartoon? You may say, well, in our timeline, there are no sweet fairies, and everyone's armed with weapons capable of causing an apocalypse. And you'd be right. But when we, as a society, shrug off creativity and imagination, and instead immerse ourselves in various screens telling us what to do and think, whose fault is that really? Ralph Bakshi's profound message in Wizards still serves as a mirror to humanity, and a cautionary tale about the grim future we're carving out with weapons trading and overdependence on technology. Wizards, genre, and style. Believe it or not, Wizards was intended to be Bakshi's foray into the family-friendly genre. That reverie was quickly shattered. Within the first 5 minutes of the animation, we see 3 fairy hookers inviting a shy, unsuspecting fellow to come closer. And it's clear, we're not in for child's play. As with all of Ralph Bakshi's works, Wizards is a stunning yet peculiar piece of animation. If we were to compare it to a ride, it would be more like a stock car on the Cherokee Speedway than a smooth, pedigreed supercar. It's a little rough around the edges, but real and intense. The film is based on Bakshi's original sketches, which he had drawn up in high school. As production began, British illustrator Ian Miller and comic book artist Mike Ploog joined the team to contribute designs and backdrops. However, Bakshi kept them working separately so their individual talents could shine. Each worked on different scenes and setup, creating distinctive style. This may be one reason the animation feels like a hodgepodge throughout the runtime. Yet, overlaid with the grim, raspy voiceover, the patchwork quality doesn't just work on a storytelling level, it also makes you think. Plot. Wizards starts off with a bang, literally. The Earth as we know it has ended, destroyed by nuclear bombs set off by terrorists. 2 millennia later, as the radioactive clouds finally parted to let sunlight through, only a few humans remained. The rest had mutated into hideous creatures, none of the cool, superpowered mutants we've come to expect from Marvel Comics. These mutants were confined to the radioactive Badland, where no good could grow. Meanwhile, far away in the good land, new life had emerged. Fairies, elves, and dwarves flourished. Happiness and peace were restored, and it called for a celebration. So the beautiful people threw a massive party, celebrating 3,000 years of peace, with drinks and dancing. But as Delia, the queen of fairies, reveled in the festivity, she was suddenly overtaken by a dark cloud. It drained the life from her and left her with twins, both wizards. One was Avatar, who loved her and spent the remainder of her fragile life performing magic tricks to cheer her up, while the other was Black Wolf, a mutant wizard who waited for her to die so he could claim her crown. After the queen passed, Black Wolf's greed surfaced, but Avatar wasn't about to let the vile mutant rule, so the two brothers battled. Avatar emerged victorious, and Black Wolf was exiled. Yet, Black Wolf was far from finished. He fled to the Badland, where he established the Kingdom of Skor. There, he commanded his mutants to unearth old world technology, machine guns, tanks, and other deadly weapons, to aid him in his quest for world domination. Meanwhile, in Montagar, Avatar was entrusted with the task of training Elanor, the president's daughter, into becoming a real fairy. She already had wings, so it's unclear what Avatar was supposed to teach her, but nonetheless, that was his mission. However, Necron 99, an evil robot under Black Wolf's control, arrived and kills the president. Before Necron can escape, he's captured and tied up. Avatar then manages to reprogram him into good robot mode, renaming him Peace. Now that Avatar understands Black Wolf's plan to become the world's evil dictator, he must stop him. So, Avatar, along with Elanor, Weha, a warrior elf, and Peace, formerly Necron 99, embarks on a quest to rid the world of Black Wolf's menace. The two sides and wizards are presented in a very clear-cut, tech is bad, nature is good way, with no room for a morally upright character to embrace both. The villains are mindless Nazis, or sickly goblins, while the heroes are cheeky, fun-loving fairies and elves. Though the story is clearly inspired by J.R.R. Tolkien's works, it offers a more extreme black and white representation of the premise. Yet it doesn't turn the viewer off, as Bakshi's messaging is understated and well-spirited, with intriguing character sketches and a compelling script for Avatar's core team and his nemesis, Black Wolf.
Stars and eons of centuries.
Main character, Avatar, voiced by Bob Holt. The red-haired, diminutive Avatar is an old wizard who upholds the no-weapon tech rule and leads the journey to the foul kingdom of Skor, where his brother Black Wolf reigns. Avatar shares a special connection with Elanor, and they constantly toss innuendos at each other, which is both funny and a bit odd. After all, the wizard is 1,000 years old, and she is quite young. In the end, Avatar kills his unassuming wizard brother with a trick Black Wolf never would have expected. He shoots him with a gun. This moment is sure to stun the audience, as the good wizard had just led an entire army of moral soldiers to suffer heavy casualty against Black Wolf's forces by insisting they shouldn't use guns, only to use one himself to finish the job. Black Wolf, voiced by Steve Graver. Black Wolf is every bit the dark villain we needed in Wizards. With skeletal arm and a long white beard, he looks evil to the core, reminiscent of Saruman from The Lord of the Ring. He commands his robots, goblins, and mutants with a strict do-or-die code, and has uncovered weaponry from humanity's old wars to achieve his goal. He has also discovered a dream machine that stuns enemy, while his army goes on a killing rampage. No, the dream machine ain't any awesome AI visor that makes your dreams virtual reality. It's a projector. Black Wolf uses it to show his enemies World War II footage during battle, which always freezes the poor soldiers in their track, allowing Black Wolf's army to mow them down. Ultimately, Black Wolf dies with a weapon of his own making. That's poetic justice right there. Elanor. The voluptuous young fairy Elanor may be low on clothing, but not on personality. Bakshi couldn't resist making his heroine a complete thirst trap, but she's also a vibrant, strong-willed character. Her journey to avenge her father isn't smooth, but she's always up for the challenge. Even when the little fairies in the forest capture her, she doesn't cower. Instead, this detour only vexes her. It isn't until Avatar arrives and convinces the Fairy King, with a display of integrity and kindness, that Elanor is released. A low point for her comes when she's mind-controlled by Black Wolf and kills Peace, which prompts Weha to nearly put a blade to her neck. However, he realizes it wasn't her fault and instead rescues her from Black Wolf's dungeon. Weha, the warrior elf Weha, reminds us of a native Indian rider. He is brave, skilled, and sharp. He was the leader of his people but had to follow Avatar for this ultimate quest. Honestly, his general awareness and battle skills were the reasons Avatar wasn't killed in Scourge, and actually got to Black Wolf in the first place. In the end, he becomes the new rule of Montagar, while Avatar and Elanor aim to transform the late Black Wolf's evil kingdom into a decent civilization. Peace or Necron 99. Even the hardest, most mindless warmongers can be converted into peace-loving people. Peace, the robot, was the embodiment of this idea. Though some of you may disagree with that notion, you have to agree that Bakshi does a great sketch on Necron 99. With the red suit and gas mask reminiscent of the Nazi era, the robot's shift from Necron 99 to peace is very satisfying. He dies in a surprise attack at the hands of a possessed Elanor, but it doesn't hurt, as he is only a machine, right? Marvelous verdict. Wizards is a creative work of warning to our world, which Ralph Bakshi views as one established to reward covetous people who have gone too far with technology. If this film were made in the 2020s as a live action, it would still resonate with the people, just as it did with the paltry budget in '77. In fact, the genuine anxiety that bridles this film, combined with its breezy humor, would probably take the box office by storm. Of course, we do not want people putting their own little political spin on it, so let's hope no one touches it for now. For those who still appreciate 2D animation, or the younger audience who loves exploring different kinds of stuff, this is a cult piece that should not be missed. Bakshi strikes at the heart of an age that is fast charging towards absolute realism, reaching a complete lack of belief in any miracle or magic. He challenges it all by creating his own magic, by hand no less, to show us that it can still be done. We highly recommend that you experience this hot stew firsthand. If you have watched it, give us a shout out in the comments and let us know your thoughts. That's all from us, fam. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to us if you haven't already. Stay safe.